Hello my lovely crafters, this is Crafty Sue 519. Welcome to my channel and welcome to Tea Tuesday. I'm running a little late today. I had to go and have my mammogram this morning. Lovely way to start a day, don't you think? I'm still waiting for the day where they find something just as uncomfortable for men as they have found for women. Nothing like having your boobs stuck in a vice first thing in the morning. Oh gosh. Well, I have a fun little story today. But first, let's do my tea. I am having Taylor's English breakfast tea. I've never tried English breakfast tea, so this will be a treat. And if anybody would like to swap teas with me, I would be so happy to do that. I have tons that I've purchased. Well, for me, it's tons. And I would love to be able to share this with someone. So if you'd like to do that, just email me. I'll leave my email address below. And I'll be happy to send you out some tea and see what you send me. I think it would be fun. Here we go. I know this isn't like the British like their tea. I know they put milk and sugar in it. I never put milk in my tea unless it's chai tea. And I never put sugar in my tea, ever. And I do once in a while, in the winter when I'm drinking more tea than normal, I do like honey in my tea every now and again. So we'll let this steep for a little while and then take it and give it a try. Alrighty. So many years ago, when Grumpy and I first got married, that was in 1999, we got married. He was estranged from his mom and sister and hadn't spoken to them in 15 plus years. Well, I wasn't having that. I was not having that. I don't like that in families, and I even have it in mine now and again, but always tend to make up. But it really bothered me that he didn't speak to his mother. Perhaps because I'm a mother, I don't know. So after we had gotten married, I made some pictures of our wedding and wrote her a long letter and told her all about me, so she would know who her new daughter-in-law was. And we became friends. And she called me and we would have phone conversations. And one day she asked me if Frank was home, and I said, yes, he is. And she said, do you think he'll talk to me? And I said, well, let's see. And I brought the phone down to Grumpy and I said, it's your mom. And he just kind of looked at me with a scared look. And I said, it's your mom. And he took the phone and they had a nice conversation. And that was awesome. That was awesome because they had a very good relationship for the rest of her life. And that made me very happy. I really loved that lady. She was very, very kind to me. And I miss her. I miss her. So come the time where Grumpy's daughter, Terry, is going to graduate from college. And she went to college at Emerson, which is in Boston. And we flew from San Francisco to Boston for her graduation. And we had invited her grandmother, who she hadn't seen in all those years either. And she agreed to come. So Dorothy, Grumpy's mom, and his Aunt Lillian took a bus from Long Island to Boston, and we had a hotel room for them in the same hotel that we were staying at. And my son Jay, my kids still lived in Rhode Island at the time, and that was only an hour away from Boston. So my oldest son Jay came and picked us up at the airport and brought us to our hotel, and it was the funniest bellman that that we had at that hotel. I can't remember the name of the hotel in Boston, but it was one of the older hotels. It was kind of cool. And he brought us up to our room and brought our bags in. And he says, "Here's your room. It's a nice room." It was so funny. We still crack up about that and say that. Here it is. So then Jay took us to the bus station so we could go and pick up Grumpy's mom and aunt. And when we got there, their bus should have already have come in, but Grumpy didn't see them anyplace in the bus station. So we're sitting and sitting and sitting for quite a while. And I said, "Go up to the desk and ask if that bus came in or if there's an issue." I said, it's way past due the time they're supposed to be here. So he went up, and the guy said, "Yeah, that bus came in a long time ago." Well, over on the other side of the bus station was this old lady sitting there with white hair with another lady. It had been so long since they saw each other that they didn't even recognize one another. We laugh about it now, but it's kind of sad that you don't recognize your own mother or your own son, right? So everybody got together, and it was a nice little reunion, and got back outside and got back to the hotel, and the bellman brings his mom and aunt up to their room. And of course he says, "Here's your room. It's a nice room." It was so funny. It was just so funny. Oh gosh. So it happened to be Mother's Day. So we had arranged to have a bouquet of flowers sent to his mom for Mother's Day. So while we're all in the room together, and she's complaining because there's no closet in her room, and the bellman goes down and gets her something to hang her clothes up on, and it's an old hotel. They didn't have every little thing, but it was nice. And there's a knock at the door, and Dorothy answers the door, and a guy is standing there with this bouquet of flowers, and she slams the door in his face. And she goes, "I don't know why he's there." Excuse me. So Grumpy says, "Mom, that's from us. It's Mother's Day. Those are flowers from us." She goes, "Oh my gosh." And she opened up the door, and there was the poor guy still standing there holding the bouquet of flowers. It was so funny. Oh gosh, maybe one of those things you have to be there for, but she just slammed that door. Alrighty, English breakfast tea. Let's see what this is. Yep, tastes like tea. Yep, like it. A little tiny bit bitter, but I like that. I like it. So, my son had stayed in Boston for the day because, like I said, it's Mother's Day. And we all went out to a restaurant that night called Papa Rozzi. And we took a cab to go there. And my mother-in-law is flirting away with with the cab driver. And they're going back and forth and having a grand old time. And it ended up with the cab driver proposing to her. It was just the funniest thing. We had such a good time in the cab. Well, we got to Papa Rozzi, and Frank's ex-wife is there. She's having dinner with us. Her daughter is graduating. That's their only child. So we were all together for for Mother's Day. Grumpy's mom, his aunt, his daughter Terry, his ex-wife Irene, my son Jay, and me. And we had a great time. Now, this may seem unusual to a lot of people, but I think both of us put a great effort in staying friendly with our exes. We were both married before, and we are both friendly with our exes. And we are friendly with each other's exes, which a lot of people freak out about, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. So we had a great time. We had a great time. Went back to our hotel. Irene and Terry were staying in a different hotel than us, so they weren't with us when we got back to the hotel. But we went down to the lobby with his mom and his aunt, and we had a few drinks and got a little giddy, and we're laughing and telling stories, and it was a great time. So next day was graduation, and we went to the theater. Emerson is a film school, and their graduation was in a theater. And we get there, and everybody meets outside, and it's time to go into the theater, and his mother and his aunt find seats together. They were not assigned seats. They would sit where you may. So they find a place and sit together. And next thing I know, Irene grabs my hand, and we're sitting together. And poor Grumpy is sitting by himself because there weren't any places that had 3 seats together. So how I ended up with his ex-wife, I have no idea. It just happened. It just happened. And through the whole ceremony, Irene is holding my hand and tapping the top of my hand. Our baby is graduating. Our baby is graduating. There was never a jealousy that Terry and I got along very, very well. We still get along very well. We don't see each other much anymore because she still lives in California and we're in Florida. But we had a very close relationship all through her college time and everything. She lived with us when she came home from school, and she was the daughter I never had. So graduation is over, and we're walking around Boston. And we're walking down the street, and here's Frank and Irene walking arm in arm, I'm sure, reminiscing about their little girl. I'm sure. Doesn't bother me in the least. Terry and her grandmother and aunt and I are kind of walking in a little group together, and my mother-in-law comes over and takes my arm and walks ahead of everybody, and she says, I don't know what to do. And I said, what do you mean you don't know what to do? She goes, I don't know what to do. I have 2 daughters-in-law. And I stopped and I looked at her and I said, Dorothy, no, you don't. You have 1 daughter-in-law, me. Irene is not your daughter-in-law anymore. She was all freaked out that we were all together and all friendly. Oh, gosh. I've always said that it takes as much work with a divorce as it does with a marriage. If you choose to be angry and bitter and just hating one another if you divorce, you're going to miss out on a lot of things. You're going to miss out on a lot of things. I chose not to be that way. I had a lot of reason to be, but I chose not to be that way because nothing was ever going to take away the fact that Vic was the father of my 3 sons. And there would always be something that would come up for the rest of our lives where the both of us would have to be there. And I'm not going to say that we're best of friends, but anytime I go to Rhode Island, he comes over to visit. And if there's a family function, we're all together. And he and Vic get along cordially. They're not best friends, but they get along. There's no bitterness. There's no anger. There's nothing. At my niece's wedding, they actually sat together and had a beer. And people couldn't understand. How do you do that? How do you have your both husbands sitting there having a beer together? You work at it. You work at it, and you do it for your kids. That's what you do it for. You do it for your children. Because you don't want their lives to be miserable just because their parents are not together anymore. Anyhow, that's my little spiel for today. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun meeting Frank's mom. It was wonderful to see them together again after so long. And we made many trips to New York to visit her until she passed away in 2011. I had just moved here in October of 2010. Frank was still living in California because he had to work until February at his job before he could leave it. And his mom died, I believe it was February 2nd, 2011, because my sister, Lucille, died exactly a week later on February, no, a little more than a week later. She died on February 11th. So, that's my little story for today. But the uncomfortableness of exes. I love freaking people out with us being friends. I guess it doesn't happen all that often, but it should happen more, I think. For the sake of family, it should happen more. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday and a blessed, blessed Sunday. No, it's not Saturday. I think I'm doing my mishmash. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Tuesday. And we'll see you again soon. Love yous. Bye.